Information is right there. So if you're gathering petitions, say in Long Beach, what county are we in? Long Beach, LA County, right. And somebody says, gee, I'm from Buena Park. Oh, you're from Orange County. Okay, you make another one that says Orange County on top, and you ask them to sign that. It's a no-brainer, but you just got to be on your toes that you catch the right thing. And then there are 5 what we term blue envelopes for obvious reasons. They're blue. Now, inside the blue envelope, this is the point here is what we did successfully at our church. We explained it to our pastor. We provided him with a bulletin insert. He said, okay, Bob, we'll put this in a bulletin. When do you want to do this? So we named a week that was convenient to him. He said, we'll do it. And this thing was published, and lo and behold, that Sunday, you open your bulletin, and there's Sarah's Law explaining it. Actually, it was in color. They had a color printer. It was neat. He made an announcement at the end of the service, and that is crucial. You probably know this, but I just want to reiterate it. If a pastor forgets that, you got a rougher road to hoe. But if the last thing he says at the end, before he says we're dismissed, he says, and by the way, not by the way, he says, an important thing in your bulletin, Sarah's Law, I want to bring this to your attention because this affects the very basis of what we're about, protecting God's children, both born and unborn. And you have an opportunity now, folks, to sign up for an initiative that's going forth. Bev was at one table, I was at another. Folks came back. We had clipboards ready so that they would stand in line and you wouldn't have that expression, oh man, I can't wait to get home. While they're signing at the table, the clipboards passed to the folks in the back of the line so they could see something was happening. And they signed up, and you walk away with somewhere between 100 and 200 petitions if you got a medium-sized church, or many, many more if you got a larger or smaller one. When they did that, we said, you see how easy that was? Why don't you try it yourself? Take this blue envelope. It's got this information in there explaining Sarah's Law, everything I showed you before. It's got even more information on Sarah's Law. It's got 2 petitions within it, each having a place for 5 signatures, and then it's got a return envelope. So you can take this to your extended family, folks that weren't here today. You can take this to your co-workers. Hey, they've got a vested interest in saving children too. You can take this to your friends and neighbors, ask them to sign, simply follow the directions, and then mail it in. And people picked them up gladly, and they walked out the door with this after having signed. So step 1, remember, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Get that signature down. Offer them the blue envelope. And you'll come away, I think, quite pleased with what the results will be. They're right over here on the table, these packets. Please come over, take one, give it a try. It's worth it. It's worth every bit of it, and it's not hard to do. It's easy, and it gets results. How many of you have heard the Race for the Cure? Race for the Cure, Susan Komen Foundation, running, walking, whatever it is, raising funds to help eradicate what? Breast cancer. Okay, I want to give you a little insight as to who Komen is, and if your church is racing for the cure, let's get to your pastor real quick and alert him to what's really going on. On the table you'll find a flyer about Racing for the Cure, and it's entitled, Racing for the Cure, Don't Be Fooled. Basically, this is what's going on. If you take a look at Susan G. Komen Foundation's website or any of their material, you will not find any acknowledgement of an abortion-breast cancer connection. Despite 45 years of this being available in most nations around the world, over 30 independent studies show there is absolutely a connection between abortion and breast cancer. The physiological mechanism is understood by the medical profession. It's estrogen. When you have an abortion, your body is, as a woman, your body is preparing to nurture that child when the child is born. There's tremendous changes going on in the woman's body to prepare for taking care of that child, one of which is lactation to provide milk for it. Now, as you're into a pregnancy, the breast cells that are in a woman's body are being changed. They're differentiating so that they can form lactating milk cells to nurture the child. When that child is ripped out of that body, those cells are unstable. What to do? There's no reason to proceed to differentiate or to eventually lactate. And they are very much more subjective to any carcinogens. And that's when breast cancer is initiated. Here are the stats. 1 woman in 8 in America will acquire breast cancer in her lifetime. That's if she hasn't got an abortion. 1 in 8. The woman who terminates a pregnancy, in other words, the process has started, the estrogen has been introduced into the body to make changes, and she has an abortion, that 1 in 8 now becomes 1 in 6. If that woman aborts her first pregnancy, her first full-term pregnancy, in other words, she hasn't gone through a pregnancy cycle so that she's had a large number of breast cells differentiate already, but she's now into her very first one, her chances goes down to 1 in 5. If she has a family history of breast cancer, she has been on contraceptives, and this is her first pregnancy, that woman is virtually assured of getting breast cancer. And 1 in 4 women who have breast cancer will die from it. It's serious. It's something that every organization that sincerely wants to eradicate breast cancer, as Komen says, should have on their website, should have in their literature. I challenge you to find anything that Susan G. Komen organization has put out, any literature that acknowledges the existence of breast cancer and advises women that that might be one of the highest risk factors they could avoid. There's nothing. In its place, we find that the Susan G. Komen Foundation is a strong contributor to Planned Parenthood. Oh, yes. There it is. Wrong on 2 counts, big time. So if you're racing for the cure, you just got to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Until you see them change their position, I submit for you, save your time, save your money, because you're just supporting a big business with a pro-abortion agenda. Now, some people, just like our legislators in Sacramento, say, but this legislation or this proposal that we have has a lot of good things in it. And the answer that I think hit the core mark to the best I've ever heard came from Royce Dunn, the founder of Life Change, speaking to his congressman, who is pro-life. And they were discussing a bill in Sacramento. And it had a provision that would have paid for abortions. And the counter-argument was, but look, Royce, how much good this will do. You know, I know it's got that in there, but this is what's wrong with it, what's right with it. And Royce listened to him, and Royce comes from an orchard farming background. And the other man was a rancher. And he said, Doug, just remember this. Rat poison is 90% nutritional. Okay. So I think that's one you want to keep in the back of your mind when somebody comes up and tells you, hey, this is okay, this is fine, they're doing good things. And by the way, the things they were doing, they're diminishing. A Catholic diocese in mid-nation recently put out an announcement bringing to the attention of the parishioners and the diocesan members that Komen is not to be trusted. Not only they brought this out, what I'm telling you now, but they point out that the services they had been providing, okay, mammograms and so on for underprivileged people, has declined and is continuing to decline since 2004. So you got to ask yourself, what are they doing with the money? But their support of Planned Parenthood has been going up. So that's on the table, this flyer, also for your information. I'd like to close, well, we'll have a few questions here, but maybe you should take those right now. Might you have any questions on what I've talked about, any reservations or anything that you might have, we'll try to answer them to the best of my ability.